Welcome back to my own little slice of world disaster that is my shop right now. It is a holy mess because, good heavens, building is just messy. But that's okay. We will clean up once the mess is over with. And to show you what mess I've been working on, let's turn you around and give you a little bit of an update. If you're not seeing a big field of yellow, you really should have your eyes checked. And just to be crystal clear, this is the PT-19 project. It just is all dressed up now, no longer naked. And the wings, as you can see, have been fully covered out. Turned out really, really nice, but it took some doing to get there. Let's go over that. So covering this wing, I mean, plain and simple, I could have tried to just recover it, but it would have looked awful. There are a number of things that I had to do in order to prep it, make it nice again, if you want to think about it that way. There were a couple of damaged spots in the leading edge, just the sheeting of the wing, so I had to make those repairs. Now, I could have gone over that again on this channel, but it's really quite simple. You cut away the broken wood. That's what you got to do, okay? You cut it away, use like a sharp number 11 blade so that you're not breaking the wood away. And then very precisely trim up to the edge of a rib or a surface and then go over by like a 16, no more than a 16th of an inch, all right? I would say probably less, but give yourself a little ledge and try to use a straight edge as much as you can on those places. Then go back with a piece of fresh balsa wood and cut a shape and start sanding it back until it fits. Once it fits in that hole, you glue it in. And I use medium CA for that. I tack it in place and then I soak it with a little bit of thin CA just to make sure that I got it all right? Then we're moving on to spackle. Spackle and then sand, spackle, sand if you have to. And that leaves us with a prepped surface for this. You can go ahead and use like a sanding sealer to cover up the spackle, but ultimately I did not. And you can see that I had no problems with adhesion. These are the spots right here where I really had to just go to town. It was a disaster. Likely from picking up the wing like this, as opposed to in the center. That's a tip that I picked up years ago, is if you're gonna pick up a wing, pick it up from the center because there will always be a former there. All right, and then on the back side, it's much of the same. It's much of the same where I had some repairs to do there as well. Some blending to do of some previous repairs that were not very good. And so they look good now. The blocks are all cut away, ready to receive the struts. And we've got holes opened up for the servos as well. You can see that the covering turned out really well. Again, I'm using Oratex. It's great stuff. It makes me look like I know what I'm doing when it comes to covering. And the reality is that I'm not very good at using covering film, like heat shrink covering film. I don't use it a lot because I don't prefer it. Now the Oratex does, it's very forgiving material. And so it's a good place to start, but I will give you the caveat that it is likely the heaviest covering option out there. So be judicious or use it on a large model like this. Moving on. We have some additional things that we need to take care of in the shop today. With the wing set aside, we have just a single oleo strut here that I want to get on the bench, and we at the very least need to service it, but I do want to do a little bit of cleanup. All right, so the first thing that I will note is that this is a Robart retract unit. It's been cleaned up from like grass stains and stuff. There are some other mud stains and other stains on this that I kind of want to keep, but the fork is what I really want to clean up mostly, just because this actually works, right? So these joints and this joint, those all are functional, and they do prevent the side twisting motion as well. So it's important that those get serviced. And to do that, I'm simply going to remove my 2 clips. And I'm just using a simple screwdriver here, folks. It's not any mystery. Set those aside. I'm going to actually put them in the tray so that they don't get bumped around. And next I need to remove the pin. And this is always more than, oh, there's one. There's one. I find that having it under a little bit of compression does help. And there we go. That is removed. Now I can remove my other pin. So these, you can see there's a little bit of corrosion here. Maybe get a little closer. There is a little bit of corrosion on this pin, and that's helping, or hindering it rather, from rotating effectively. So we're going to clean that up. We're going to polish that off with a little bit of Mother's mag and wheel polish and a Dremel tool. And I'm also going to clean up the fork as well, and use the same technique there on this piece of metal. And then when it comes to this part, first, this is all grease. I'm going to clean the grease off and then see what it looks like, and then polish it as well. Same technique, and then reapply some grease, and I'll go over that once we get there. But first, let's take a look at what we have, and I'll come back to you. All right, we're back. And so here's the result. You have a nice and shiny fork. It's not fully mirror finished, wasn't planning for it to be, but it is definitely cleaned up and much more free and corrosion free in general. Here's the pins. They're very much cleaned up as well. And the stem I definitely did need to do a little bit of a polish job on. Wasn't terribly difficult, but messy at the very least. So the next thing we've got to do is we've got to do the reassembly. We've already got a spring in here, and there's a spring in here. Usually it's one spring, but this person clearly, like, they didn't know what spring rate they wanted, or they adjusted it. Regardless, we have our springs ready to go. We have our pins ready to go. We still have our clips down in the tray over here. And so what I'm going to do first is, we're using a true multi-purpose grease. The reason I'm using multi-purpose is because this one is specifically for marine applications. So the reason I'm using a marine grease as opposed to any other lithium grease, like a red lithium or even white, is because wet. The whole reason the corrosion got there in the first place is because these airplanes do go through wet, whether it is early morning grass or even grass that is cut. The ends of exposed cut grass will be secreting a little bit of moisture. And so you got to get rid of that. That's the problem, is that you have to have the moisture removed. And I use the marine application because it's going to hold up to that situation a little bit longer. That's my experience. Your mileage certainly may vary. So first we get the fork roughly in position, and I've got one pin in place and a second pin in place. Now we're just going to work that grease a little bit. Got a fresh towel. I don't want to mess with the other one and risk getting grease all over the place. But now we're going to wipe up the excess. And there's going to be grease inside, of course. And so now lube up that a little bit more, and we're all set, ready to go back in the airplane. So just to compare, for the sake of argument, I've got the other one. So like you're really not changing a whole lot here. There is a little bit of a noticeable difference, but really, like I said, we're after just servicing this. We're not after fully restoring it or making it super stupid shiny or anything like that. Just trying to service it. Get it clean, get the corrosion off, and that's what we're doing. So then you put your clips back on. And I'm going to give you guys one more tip that I have learned from our... Found it! Seriously, that went flying. There. Heard the snap, but I want to do it a little more. Okay, it's in place. So, our friends from Zap make excellent glues, but they also make this, Rail Zip. This is for model trains, but the cool thing is that I have learned a number of different shop applications of this, and I'm actually going to use this here. The reason being, I already stated the reason, honestly, moisture. These landing gear are going to see moisture, and so Rail Zip, in addition to being a lubricant, it is designed to prevent and eliminate corrosion. And so I'm just going to put some of this Rail Zip here and work it in. And then the same thing as I did with the grease, wipe away the excess. And that is just to help lubricate the fork pieces as well as try to do a little bit of prevention of corrosion. Now, what I will say is that I have been using this stuff on the electrical connection for my personal trailer that I take to airplane events. And it absolutely works. 100% absolutely works. That stuff, just let it sit in the rain and it doesn't hardly do anything with the Rail Zip. And if I do see a little bit of corrosion forming, I can just put another couple drops on. So at this point, this is fully ready to go back into the airplane. Did not lose the clips. And now I'm going to clean up this one and I'll come back for the next step. All right, so the next thing that I want to show you guys is this strut does not have a scale shape to it. And I want to try to modify that a little bit, make it look a little bit more like it belongs and less spindly. There's just this uneasy look, in my opinion, to this when it doesn't have the right shape. So the way that Hanger 9 did this, there's like a plastic spacer here, and then there's some grub screws that tighten down onto a flat spot of steel here. And so all we're going to do is grab a 3D print, of course. So the difference between this and other 3D prints is I made this out of TPU. The reason why I made this out of TPU is this takes a lot of vibration, and I didn't want to do a hard piece of plastic anyway because this is going to butt almost all the way up against the fuselage, okay? And so because of that, I want this to give a little bit. I want it to be a little bit flexible because it's designed to do that, right? It's designed to take the torque on this piece of music wire. So we're just going to slide this down, and I've designed this with two little holes that meet up with the grub screws. So this just slides on, and then that slides in. And oh, perfect. Perfect. And I'll use some blue Loctite on these to make sure that it doesn't come off. And then I can use a little drop of canopy glue down at the bottom here, slide this down, let that cure, and be done. And so that way I get a more scale profile of this strut, and it just has a better look. I'm not adding a whole lot of weight, and it's a pretty simple design, and it's just gray TPU. It's not painted or anything. And yeah, it'll look pretty decent from a distance. All right, another thing I want to show is the cowl. So I have made some progress, clearly, with the cowl. I sanded every piece of paint that I could off of this thing. It's still, as you can see, quite dusty. I haven't wiped it down or anything. So yeah, as I was sanding, you can still sort of see some of the corners that I need to do some cleanup on. But this had 2 layers of paint on it, which is, I think, why the paint was so like alligator skinned and crackling. So there was a layer of primer, then paint, then primer, and paint again, and it just did not look good. So since we're changing the color anyway, it made sense to go ahead and get rid of everything. So I just sanded it all off. And how do you do that? Well, that's how. A charged battery and a sander and a whole lot of elbow grease and a little bit of a mess. Yeah. That's all paint. That's all paint that I sanded off. That's the reason why the shop is a mess. See, I'm a giver. I share my mess with you guys. All right, so I think my point is made. Progress is being made on the PT-19. It takes some time, takes some patience and elbow grease, but it's really not difficult stuff. It's pretty simple. You just gotta enjoy doing it, right? So, moving on, we'll shoot the primer. I'll get the holes filled. So that's just, you know, putting a little bit of fiberglass on the back, on the inside of the cowl. So epoxy, fiberglass cloth, not a big deal. And then fill with a little bit of the red spot putty. Sand it back, make it smooth, and then we can shoot primer. And then once the primer looks good, then we can shoot final paint. All right, so in the meantime, we'll continue on the wing. We're gonna get the hinges installed, get the servos put back in, and make sure everything's ready for decals. So decals are on their way from Cali, and that way we can put them on and then just hose the whole wing down with a clear coat and be done with it. Now, clear coat, again, you gotta use something fuel safe. It's gotta be at least a 1K clear coat, okay? Otherwise, gasoline is gonna eat it, okay? Remember, we're going gas on this. It's not just glow fuel, okay? We're not just talking about wiping down castor oil. So you got to fuel-proof things when you go with gas. All right, so head on over to dubro.com and get yourself a little bit of a discount. Use that code JOSH10 at checkout. These guys just love the hobby. They love seeing people create stuff just like me. And I just love sharing this stuff with you guys. And I hope that you're learning something from it. If not, I'm sorry, but that's what I do here in my shop. I love sharing the things that I learn. And until next time, keep working on your flying works of art.